let's get to our first bit of news then for everyone here at the moment, and that is details of Samoa Joe's new contract. Now, the first thing I need to say is that Samoa Joe is still not cleared to wrestle. This is one of the reasons he was initially released. As reported live here on Twitch, the day he was released, we jumped on here on Twitch, talked about everything going on, and I did specify exactly why he was released. Now, it has been reported by PW Insider, and I can confirm, he has signed a new contract with NXT. Technically, it's a WWE contract, but it is very clearly a contract that limits him to NXT. It also contains a significant reduction in his overall pay packet, so he's taken a pretty big pay cut to take it, and does not immediately qualify him to return to wrestle. He is still not cleared. That said, promises have been made as to his overall future trajectory, with regular medical checks as part of the package, and a promise that should he be cleared, there are championships in his future. I do not expect that we will see Samoa Joe versus Karrion Kross anytime soon, because I don't believe Karrion Kross is long for NXT. Meanwhile, I think it'll take at least a little while longer, a few months at minimum, for Samoa Joe to be cleared. This is part of the overall hiring here, particularly to NXT. This is part of an intentional plan currently being put together by NXT as to its future. It's being overseen by Triple H and Shawn Michaels, and is not too involved with Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis, Bruce Pritchard. There will be a draft after SummerSlam, and by then the aforementioned names, Bruce Pritchard, Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis, are expected to have made their decisions as to who will be called up from NXT. The numbers are supposedly significant of expected call-ups. We're looking in and around double figures for both Raw and SmackDown. Samoa Joe was brought in with the intention of ushering in a new age, even though he is something of a callback. There are changes being made right now by the WWE proper to the structure of NXT programming. You can see more on that on my YouTube. A couple of days ago, we did release a video about NXT suffering more oversight, particularly as regards incoming call-ups and the like. With the main roster returning to full-time touring, if Samoa Joe had been cleared, he would have been wrestling regularly, potentially risking further injury. Wrestlers from the main roster wrestle 5-6 times a week, and it can be very, very draining. When it comes to NXT, I said AEW, that's definitely not the case. When it comes to NXT, they will wrestle 1, maybe 2 times a week, and then they will take regular breaks as well. Much like Tommaso Ciampa and his neck injury, the smaller schedule of NXT should hopefully support a long-term career for Samoa Joe. That will be important if he is cleared, because at current, we still cannot say he has been cleared. To my knowledge, he has not been cleared to wrestle. That said, and this is something we're going to need to keep an eye on, there are those within the WWE who see this as Triple H and NXT undermining Vince McMahon and the main roster. The fact that Vince McMahon and Nick Khan decided to let someone go, and Triple H has swept in and made this change, has created some dissent amongst high-ranking executives in the WWE. This will be an interesting situation to keep an eye on as it progresses. Checking in the chat, Eleanor says, people seem really upset Samoa Joe hasn't gone to AEW. And I feel a lot of people are upset about that. Primarily AEW and Samoa Joe fans. If you look at the Venn diagram, there is the two circles, Samoa Joe fans here, AEW fans here, and in the overlap, people who are really, really mad about this deal. I've also seen a lot of NXT fans who are thrilled, a lot of WWE fans who are thrilled. Essentially, whatever company you're a fan of, if you've got Samoa Joe, you're thrilled. If not, you're maddeningly disappointed. And I think that's a really good sign for just how important Samoa Joe can be going forwards. Michael says, Joe would have been great in AEW, but more power to him. I agree. I think Samoa Joe would have been fantastic literally everywhere. That's the beauty of someone as talented as Joe. Jay Quick says, is this a way to shift Regal to behind the scenes? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I think this may be an opportunity to give Regal a break and let him go home for a little bit, that being here in the UK. He hasn't been back for a while. It may be a shift with the plan, as you say, to go backstage, essentially move him across to NXT UK, who need people at the top level right now to guide that ship. It's been a while, but it could be a number of other things. It could be very possible that William Regal comes out and says, I reached out to someone last night, and I said to that person, I said to them, I need your help. Because things are going crazy here. Everyone's getting in fights. I need someone who can handle themselves physically. So I tell you what, I'm still the GM, but I've brought me a sheriff. I've brought me a sheriff in the form of Samoa Joe. And then you hear that weird elephant noise and Samoa Joe walks out. I think this is a bit of a shame. Thank you, Eleanor. I am actually from Blackpool, so I should be able to do a very good Regal impression. And I've met him a couple of times. But the situation here, I think it was a significant spoiler, especially if it happens tomorrow night. They couldn't have sat on this a little bit longer, just a little bit longer, and then when it happened, given details. Big spoilers, guys.